Hola, mis amores, it's January Council. I am the guiding light and spiritual teacher to intuitive leaders that are being the most authentic version of themselves. They are trusting their intuition, they are prioritizing their self care, they are overflowing with inner peace, and they're enjoying their lives every single step of the way. Today, we're going to talk about what, no, we're going to talk about it will work if you work it, and why focusing only on the things you can control is the way to your inner peace. This is actually episode number 18 of my ongoing series here on my YouTube channel titled The Path to Inner Peace. And today we're doing video number 3 of this week, which wraps our week theme of life after awareness. We've been unpacking what happens after we become aware of our inner peace and we start to step into it. And this week we've been covering that. Now, before I continue into talking about who's going to get the most out of this video, because I know you'll be wanting to know that, let's do a quick vibe check. These are opportunities for you to pause and reflect and sit with yourself and to see what it's like to be in the body, because that's a very important part of cultivating our path to inner peace. So let's take a deep breath in. Feel your chest expand and breathe into your heart. And when you feel ready, exhale slowly. And if you're feeling generous, drop in the comments below what's present for you. What came up for you when you were in your body? This is a really powerful practice, and I do this daily to help me be and remain in the path of inner peace. Now, who's going to get the most out of this video? The person that's going to get the most out of this video is an intuitive leader who's focused on trusting their intuition, who's determined to prioritize the self-care over self-doubt, and is committed to walking through this process being unapologetic of who they are. Being unapologetic about being extra, about doing the most, about taking care of themselves, about loving on themselves, and doing it full of mental calm. And of course, inner peace, because you know that's what I like to focus on. And those are the people that are going to get the most out of this video. So if that's you, make sure that you stay tuned in and that you watch the entire video, as well as consider subscribing to the channel, because that's what I like to focus on up in here, babes. Now, why am I even talking about this topic? Why are we talking about focusing only on the things that we can control? What's up? What's up? Why are we doing that? Listen, the number one reason why we're talking about this is because I know what it's like to focus on the things that you cannot control. I've been on the other side of what it's like to focus on things that you think you can control and you actually are not able to. And when I was sitting in that space, I was finding myself feeling really frustrated with my reality. And I actually find that this just doesn't happen to me. This hasn't only been my experience. This has also been the experience of the clients that I work with, which are other intuitive leaders. So if it's happening to me and it's happening to them, and we are both intuitive leaders, we are all intuitive leaders, and you are an intuitive leader, it's likely that it's happening in your life in some shape or form. And before I was focused only on the things I could control, I was really focused. I was experiencing quite a bit of that frustration in my external reality. And then I found myself auditioning for people. Because one of the things I was looking to control that I couldn't control was how other people saw me, what other people thought about me, how other people felt about me. And that showed up in the form of people pleasing. That showed up in the form of feeling like a victim of my circumstances and my environment. And I'm not a victim. I know that I'm a force. And when that energy is present, I tend to show up in that way. When I'm focused on the things I cannot control, I tend to embody those behaviors that are not who I really am. And when I'm on the other side of it, though, my life is completely different. I feel very empowered. The moments where I'll feel really frustrated, I feel really at ease and in flow. The moments where I'll be auditioning, I show up powerfully and I honor who I am unapologetically and boldly. And that's what I desire for you, because I know that you desire that for yourself. That's what my clients come to me for. We desire to show up unapologetically, caring for ourselves, leading with ourselves. And when we are focusing only on the things that we can control, we can actually do that. So here's what I want to share with you today. Here's what you're going to learn. I'm going to share with you the number one reason why focusing only on the things that you can control is a non-negotiable for me. And really for every single intuitive leader out there that's focused on trusting their intuition. I'm going to share with you what focusing only on what I can control has looked like for me as a thought leader, because the way I am today is so different than the way I used to be before. And I want you to see what that looks like so you can expand your mind. You can expand your possibilities around what can happen in your life. Then I'm going to share with you the 3 ways that focusing on only on what I can control has made my life 1,000 times better, because I want you to see what the transformation looks like and how often it changes and how much it grows and how much joy I'm able to unleash in my life. And I know you want that, because I know you desire to live a life where you're joyful and you're peaceful and you're abundant and wealthy. And I'm going to give you the bonus for staying with me to the end. I'm going to share with you the best way to focus only on what you can control and doing it overflowing with inner peace and inner calm. So if you are about that, that's what I'm going to share with you today. Before I jump into these things, I want to talk to those of you that are ready. I'm going to talk to you, those of you that desire to take the next step, because I know that you're watching. I know that you're here. Hi, I see you. I know that you're here. Below this video, there is a link to apply for what we call an authenticity audit. These are called authenticity audits because they are designed to ensure that you are living the most authentic version of yourself, that you are enjoying your most authentic life, and that you are doing it overflowing with inner peace. What does this mean? Who is going to get the most from this cause? Because they're not for everybody. This is for those of you that are intuitive leaders and are grounded in trusting your intuition at a deeper level. This is for those of you that are desiring to face your triggers with calm and with ease. This is for those of you that are committed to nourishing your body with compassion and self-discipline. This is for those of you that are determined to release any borrowed beliefs that are no longer in alignment with who you desire to be in the world. This is for those of you that are committed to building healthy, loving relationships with the people in your life and even complete strangers. That is who's going to get the absolute most from these authenticity audits. So if any of those things I just shared are resonating with you, this call is for you. And if you are serious about putting yourself first, if you are serious about being the best version of yourself, if you are serious about showing up powerfully in every single area of your life, in your self-care, in your relationships with your friends, your family, your spouse, your children, your business, with your resources, with your money, with your time, with your energy, if you're desiring to show up powerfully with that no matter what, and you would desire to show up with it overflowing with mental calm and inner peace, then make sure you book one of these authenticity audits, because they are going to be transformational for you. Click in the comment section below and let's co-create some magic in your life. All right, y'all know I got a story for you because I always come with story time. A few years ago, actually, it's right here. Take the exact date. On May 4th, 2014, see right here? I made the decision to run something called the Endurance North Face Challenge. And I don't even think this is my actual medal. I think there's a new medal that they mailed to me because this was like just to showcase that day that we did it. So I ran this. And I ran this was a half marathon. So that's 13.1 miles. And I ran this half marathon in a mountain. That's why it's called an endurance challenge, because it was in a mountain. And one of my old coworkers and I did it together. She was like, "You want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, girl, let's do it." And we decided to run this race. I'm that person that'd be like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Don't even consider all the things, because if I'm down for it, I'm down for it." So we arrived at the site to run this race, to do this challenge. And it turns out that it had rained the night before. It had absolutely rained the night before. And when it rained the night before, it was muddy everywhere. Why am I telling you that? I'm telling you this because as soon as she started the race, like 1, 2, 3 steps into the race, I stepped into some mud and my leg, almost twisted my ankle. This is like not even a minute into the race. And that showed me like, oh, this is going to be the type of race. This is going to be a challenging ass race, because of how much was going on in my environment that was outside of my control. I noticed that the more I ran, the more opportunities I had to potentially twist my ankle. And I started to see people around me, and they were going through the same ish. They were going through the same shit, because y'all not be cussing in here. They were going through the same shit. Like, they were falling. People were like needing to have sticks to hold themselves in place, because the course for this challenge was muddy. The rain had done its part, and it was wild out there. And this is the number one reason, y'all, why focusing only on what I can control is a non-negotiable for me. Because in that moment when I began to run that race, and I started to notice that this was going to be a very challenging race for me, especially because of the conditions of the mountain, I had to make a decision on how I was going to show up. How was I going to show up to this race, to this challenge? Because there was a lot about my environment that I couldn't control. I couldn't control getting that there wasn't any mud. I couldn't control that it had been raining the night before. I couldn't control what the terrain looked like. I couldn't control any of those things. And that's why I decided in that moment that I was only going to focus on what I could control. And that's how I was going to show up to that. How I was going to show up to that moment. How I was going to show up to that race. How I was going to show up to that muddiness that was happening in my life. What a beautiful metaphor for how it is in life in general. Because sometimes we be in that muddiness and we do not want to show up. We do not want to deal with it. We want to change it. And when we focus only on what we can control, we can sit in whatever feels muddy in our lives and do it with joy, do it with compassion, do it with ease. And this is why this is such a non-negotiable thing for me, because anytime I'm focused on the things I cannot control, I'm not enjoying my life. The moments that I was focused on that race and the things I couldn't control, like the fact that it was muddy, the fact that I kept on falling, the fact that my sneakers kept on getting heavy because they kept on getting stuck with mud, I wasn't enjoying that race. I wasn't enjoying myself. I wasn't at peace with myself. Once I allowed myself to focus on what I could control, once I allowed myself to shift my attention only to what I could control, things began to be different for me. And I got to really enjoy it. I got to really enjoy the view, which was wonderful. It was a wonderful view, and I wouldn't have been available for that if it wasn't because I made the decision to only focus on what I could control. The second thing I want to share with you is what focusing only on what I could control looks like for me on the path to inner peace. Let me tell you something. When I was doing that race, there was so much that I wanted to fight against. Because I went into this race with this idea that I was going to show up in a certain way, that I was going to perform a certain way, that I was going to hit a certain record. I be into records. So if I'm doing a run, if I'm doing a race, if I'm doing any challenge, and there is a potential record opportunity, I'm going after it. And because I show up in that way, it's been very important for me to shift how I move when I'm in those situations. Because sometimes things are not going to happen the way I want them to happen. Like when I went on that mountain race, I wasn't going to be able to do a personal record on that. It was just simply too muddy. The focus shifted from let me break a record to let me finish. Let me relax. Let me enjoy this. And this is one of the ways it has to look like for me to focus only on the things I can control, is to release the attachment to outcomes. It's to release the attachment to wanting things to go in a very specific way. It's to allow myself to experience and co-create magic with life, with God, with source, and be at peace with what emerges as a result of that. The old version of myself wouldn't have operated from that place. The old version of myself would have been so upset that she didn't hit that record. She would have been so caught up on what wasn't possible. She would have been so in her bag about everything. In this version of myself, the version of myself that understands progress is all is progress. This version of myself that is at peace with herself sees that these are opportunities for us to release attachments. These are opportunities for us to show up more powerfully. That inner peace means being okay with however things show up in your reality and choosing how you show up to those things. That is what this has looked like. A complete shedding of this idea that things have to be a certain way for me in order for me to enjoy them, in order for me to accept them, in order for me to feel good about myself. that I need other people to okay it, that I need other people to do the thing for me, that I need the environment to change, that I needed the mountain to be dry in order for me to enjoy completing the challenge. That is what that looks like in the path of inner peace. It's shifting from I need this outcome to validate me, into affirm me, into I affirm myself by the way I show up to situations. I validate myself by the way I show up to the environment in which I'm being planted. So one of the things that happens when we choose to show up like that in the world, one of the things that begins to occur is that we are able to enjoy our lives a lot more. We are able to take our focus from the environment being something that is wrong. We are able to release the victim energy that we may be holding onto as we show up to an environment that we don't like, and we can transmute that into joy. We can transmute that into love. We can transmute that into appreciation. We can transmute that into gratitude. And I want to share with you 3 ways in which I've been able to do that, and that has happened in my life. Let's start with that race. One of the number 1 ways in which focusing only on the things that I can control has really made my life 1,000 times better. It has helped me finish the things I start. There are things in my life that I'm down to quit all the time. If I'm doing something that doesn't bring me joy, I let it go. And there are things that I really desire to do that feel extremely challenging for me, and I'm committed to finishing. And in the moments when I'm committed to finishing, I'm pulling within myself from the parts of me that can support me in finishing when it feels extremely uncomfortable. And being 1,000% honest with you, this race was one of those moments. Because I really was like, how am I finish this race? And at the same time, because I was in the mountain and we entered the mountain with the race, we had to exit the mountain. So the only way to finish this race was to go through the process, was to go through the journey, was to go through the mountain, was to go through the entire race. And because of that, I was able to release the attachment to that outcome and embrace the view. One of the ways in which focusing on the things that I've been able to, focusing on the things that I can control has made my life 1,000 times better is that it has helped me finish the things I desire to finish and enjoy the view while I'm doing it. Because when I'm enjoying the view, I sit there, I'm present, and I'm able to learn from that moment. And as I've told you before, the number 1 thing I focus on my inner peace is learning about myself, learning about how I show up, learning about how I think I show up. And that's what I am able to do when I'm focusing on the things that I can control. The second way that it has made my life 1,000 times better is releasing the things that I cannot control. There is a shitload of things I thought I could control that I will learn I couldn't. I can't control what other people think about me. I can't control how other people feel about me. I can't control that there will be environments that I don't like that will be required for me to grow. I can't control that there will be conditions that I will be called to shift in order to step to my next level. There are all these things I'm not able to control. And because I choose not to focus on those things, because I choose to focus only on the things that I can control, I'm able to enjoy my life a lot more. I'm able to see the progress I'm making. I'm able to own my track record and see that I do take action and I show up powerfully and I am an amazing decision maker. And I can stay in that energy in the moments that feel like that's not true. In the moments that challenge that, in the moments that stretch me, in the moments where the ego wants to convince me that I'm not showing up fully because I'm not getting a certain outcome in a perfect way. And that makes my life better because when I show up in that way, I'm just joyful. And one of my core values is to live a life of joy. Is to enjoy the now with the fervor that I'm here and I'm meant to be here and I pray to be here. And this is a place where I can thrive and I can serve others. That can only occur because I'm focused on the things that I can't control. Because if I'm looking at everything else, I'm going to be focused on everything else. And everything else means that I'm not focused on this. And when I'm focused on this, I'm more grounded, I'm more joyful, and I'm moving in alignment with who I said I desire to be in the world. The third way that focusing on the things that I can control has made my life 1,000 times better, it has up-leveled my self-care. Because one of the things that I can't control is my self-care, is how I care for myself, is how I show up to myself, is putting myself first. Oftentimes, I was so used to putting others above myself, especially my business, because that's something that I had learned that needed to be the right way of doing things. But because I choose to focus only on the things I can control, and I know that I cannot control the sales, I can control how I show up to the sales calls. I can't control what people say. I can't control how I show up to myself so that I am in alignment energetically with people that are desiring what I am serving, that are desiring my support. Because I show up in that way, I don't have to worry about making things happen. I'm focusing on being a channel that's ready, that's prepared for the conditions to emerge that allow the unfolding of what I truly desire. And that is such a beautiful way to live. Because I know what it's like to live focused on worry. I know what it's like to live focused on lack. I know what it's like to live focused on the pursuit of things. Not because I don't have them, but because it feels familiar. And when I release that, I allow new energy to flow. I allow new space to emerge. And I allow parts of me to be expressed in a way that before I would have kept hidden. And that's something that brings me so much joy. And it feels so peaceful and so yummy and cozy to be this way. And that's what I wanted for you. This is why I want this for you, because I know that when you experience this, you're going to give it to others because you are a leader. You have people that you are serving. You have people that look to you for answers. You have people that hire you and bring you on board because of how powerful you are at helping them see things clearly. And I know that when someone is helping you see things clearly, you allow that clarity to infuse itself into everything you co-create. And it's magical. And this is exactly why I'm going to make you an invitation right now. Because I know that you desire to live your life peacefully and joyfully, abundantly and authentically, boldly and unapologetically. And I know that I'm the best person to walk you through this process, especially if you are an intuitive leader, especially if you are committed to trusting your intuition, especially if you are all about overflowing with inner peace. Below this video, in the description box below this video, there is a link for an application. This application is for one of my authenticity audits. These audits are valued at $1,500. If you absolutely want to do an audit with me, you can actually buy one in the description box below for $1,500. If you are desiring to explore our magic, to explore our alignment, I want to invite you to apply for one of these sessions because I reserve about a handful of them for those of you that want to take that next step. These are called authenticity audits because they're about ensuring that you are living your life authentically aligned and joyfully and peacefully. And that you're moving through this in a way that serves you, in a way that you feel joy, in a way that feels really, really good to you. And if you are committed to showing up powerfully, if you are committed to prioritizing your life, prioritizing your self-care, prioritizing your mental ease, mental calm, and you are desiring to do this with high-level mentorship, these authenticity audits are really for you. You are the person that I'm reserving this place for. And what we're going to do is we're going to sit down for 45 minutes. And in those 45 minutes, you and I are going to map out the most joyful path to dissolving any blockages so that you can welcome in what you desire in 30 to 90 days, full of ease and full of inner peace, because you know that's what I like to focus on. And the ones are going to get the most out of this conversation are those of you that desire to, number one, trust your intuition at a deeper level. Number two, face any triggers that you are experiencing with calm and with ease. That are desiring to nourish your body with compassion and self-discipline. For those of you that are committed to releasing borrowed beliefs that are no longer serving you and aren't aligned with who you desire to be in the world. And for those of you that are committed to building, nourishing, co-creating, loving, healthy relationships with the people in your life, with your clients, with your employees, and with complete strangers. If that's you, this is going to be for you, because we're going to talk about everything that's needed for you to be a more joyful version of yourself and to unlock that next level of your growth, that next level of your inner peace, enjoying the journey as much as you enjoy the destination. So if you want to work with me and you are committed to being the best version of yourself, you are committed to overflowing with inner peace and mental calm, these authenticity audits are transformational. There are 5 of them that I have available for this week, and 5 of you will get to have one of them with me. They are valued at $1,500, and you'll be able to sit with me without spending that money, because we're going to talk about what it looks like for us to work together. That's why I reserve them, because I know you're ready for that next step. To apply, click the link in the description box below, and let's explore our alignment. Let's co-create some magic in your life. All right, you ready for a bonus? Give me a sunflower if you're ready for a bonus moment. What's coming up for you? What's present for you? As you're sitting with yourself, going through this conversation and really looking at the power of focusing only on the things that you can control, share with me one thing that you have taken away so far. I'm going to take a moment so that you can drop it in the comments below. What has been your biggest takeaway so far before I give you this bonus, before I walk you through my process for focusing only on the things that I can control? I'm going to give you a second to do that. Get some water. All right. So here's the best way to focus only on the things that you can control. And to do it in a way that you feel peaceful, you feel joyful, and it lights you up. I'm going to keep it really simple for you. Focus on yourself. Focus on yourself, because you are truly the only thing you can control. How you show up is the one thing we can control. What we ingest and whether it's through food, whether it's through information, whether it's through people, is what you can control. And when you are able to hone in the ability to focus on yourself, your inner peace gets unleashed. Your joy gets unleashed, because you are focused on the one thing you can control. And because you're focused on the one thing you can control, you show up differently. What do I mean by focus on yourself? I'm going to give it to you. Number 1, focus on discovering yourself. There is so much about yourself that you may not even know is present because of what you have been choosing to put your attention on. This is an opportunity for you to take a step back and discover who you are. Who are you right now? How are you showing up? How are you acting versus how you think you're acting? Take a look at who you are with uncomfortable honesty. See the things that light you up and see the things that inspire you to shift. This discovery of yourself is going to set the foundation for co-creating a magical life, for taking yourself in a journey where you are enjoying the journey as much as the destination. After you discover yourself, so if you're getting started, definitely start with discovering yourself. Then you start to shed what no longer serves you. Now, for those of you that are in the process of shedding, what I mean by shedding what no longer serves you is shedding beliefs, shedding behaviors, shedding actions, shedding activities, shedding people, shedding relationships, shedding environments that are no longer in alignment with you. Going through the shedding process is something that you can control. And because you can control this, you can be intentional about what you are letting go in a way that is loving and compassionate to yourself, which you're going to really need during the shedding season. Then you want to focus on yourself by embodying. You're embodying who you desire it to be. When we are in a season when we have gone through some shedding, it's time to embody. What did we learn about ourselves? What are the routines we learn? What about the rituals that serve us? What about the behaviors that actually support us? What are the beliefs that we are like, I am set on being this way. I am set on showing up in this new way. When we are embodying ourselves, we rely a lot on our routines and our rituals. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to focus on because it helps you set the tone. It helps you set the tone for who you're being. It helps you see what your track record is like. So holding that space to embody the The version of yourself you desire to be is extremely powerful. And then the last thing you want to do is surrender the rest to the divine. This is a big part of focusing on myself. When you release the rest to the divine, when you surrender, you acknowledge that you've done your part. You acknowledge that you are complete. You acknowledge that there are things you're not able to control, and you let those things go. That is the way that I focus on myself. That is the way I share with my clients to focus on themselves. And that's the way I'm sharing with you today, because it is the best way to do it. Excuse me. Inner peace is about holding space for yourself. And the better you get at holding space for yourself, the more you get to experience the inner peace at a deeper and deeper level in your life. So, in the next video, I'm going to cover how to simplify your life. We've talked a lot in this series about inner peace and the changes we're going to experience. And now we get to a part that's one of my favorites, because it's about simplification. One of the things that I learned from Steve Jobs was that you got to be a champion for simplicity. It's one of the things that has made Apple such a fantastic and huge company, is that they are champions for simplicity. And the same applies to our lives. We can shift things in a different way when we are simplifying things for ourselves, so that we can be successful in the way that makes sense for us, and we can live life on our own terms. So I'm going to walk you through my process for keeping things simple in my life. For those of you that are submitting your applications for those authenticity audits to work with me, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the other side. My name is Yanori Pouncil. I am the guiding light and spiritual teacher to intuitive leaders prioritizing their self-care, being the most authentic version of themselves, trusting their intuition, and overflowing with inner peace as they enjoy their lives every single step of the way. And I'm here to make sure that you see things clearly. Remember, mis amores, you are a whole vibe. Go and share your light with the world and shine upon all of us, because we desire and we need more of love and compassion, all the things that you bring to the world. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hasta luego, mis amores.